Well, hello. It is Tuesday, September 27th, and you may or may not be wondering where I am. I'm in the back lot here on campus. I decided that, I got bored of all the, what's it called, all the thumbnails for all my videos being in my apartment, so I decided to try and start making videos in different places. And I know the lighting isn't very good right now. I look really dark on screen, but it's actually really not that dark out here, as you can probably tell from the background. And it's probably the background's fault that I'm so dark right now, because the camera's focusing on that. But I mean, at any rate, the second day of physics, or first day of physics, I should say, second day of month 4, going really well. Lecture today was all right. It was a bit hectic. Hectic in the sense that, all right, so I knew that my computer was going to have to be charged because I was expecting to be there a full 8 hours. Well, I had packed everything. I packed the power strip, I packed the fan thing, I packed the computer, but I'd forgotten the power cord, the most important thing. So I'd gotten there like a half hour early. I had to run all the way back home, grab the power cord, and get back. And by that point, I mean, it was 91 degrees out today. It was hot. So by the time I get back to class, I mean, I'm talking, I was sweaty, like marathon status, kind of, you know. It was pretty bad. And I was wearing a different shirt earlier, and it was just soaked. Like, I was sitting for the first half of lecture, I was just like miserable because I was like, I'm assuming I was pretty stank, I was sweaty, it was cold, it was just bad. So when we went on break, I booked it back home, put on another shirt, and came back, and at that point it was already cooling off a little bit. So, you know, it wasn't so bad. But anyway, yeah, that's what I used my break for in lecture. And in the second half, we ended up finishing up pretty early, which, you know, you never know how long the lectures are actually going to last, because they give you the 4-hour block, but they never last the 4-hour block. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So far, I have not had a full 4-hour lecture. It's always ended a bit early. So today ended way early. We ended an hour and a half early. Got out about 7:30. So I was able to go home. And we talked about, obviously we started off with the attendance and how the class is going to be done with the grades, how those work and everything. I mean, we talked about the basics of everything. Like, we talked about what vectors were, we talked about the velocity, acceleration, distance, time, the metric system, basic stuff. And some of the equations were looking pretty difficult, but once we actually got in the lab, it just got out, they weren't so bad. So anyway, so the lecture was all right. It was, you know, the instructors, she's pretty cool, so it seems, and they're pretty slack with attendance and everything. But I mean, it's, as far as material goes, nothing's difficult yet. I know we have 3 tests in physics this month, and I think, yeah, they're all done in lecture. So all the tests are not done in lab like they were in college math, but they're done in lecture. And lecture is the main getting you ready for the test, giving you the information and whatnot. So that's lecture. Lab is different. Lab is where it's not exactly what I had expected. I had kind of thought, well, it's probably going to be just like college math. Nothing like it. The only thing that's the same is that it's called lab. Basically, lab is to expand on what we talked about in lecture, obviously, but there's some stuff like on the test that they're not going to cover in lab, because it's like they're trying to show us certain things. And I'm not exactly sure why or how that works, but it seems pretty interesting nonetheless. And the thing about, and one of the things that was mentioned in lecture was like, you know, obviously, like she was like, raise your hand if you saw your schedule this month and you were like, why the F am I taking physics? So she gave us a bunch of reasons as to why it's relevant. And just like with music theory, the class, and just about every other class here at Full Sail, is that they are course specific. I mean, they try to make it as relevant as possible. So as far as physics goes, you know, they're trying to teach us the stuff that they think is going to suit best for the recording arts program or for the film program or whatever program you're in. I know there's probably a bunch of gamer kids in that class as well. So they try to make it relevant. It's not just like it's a standard physics class, you know, in high school or whatever college you go to. That's not Full Sail. And then also, oh, what was I going to say? Also, because it's only 4 weeks long, they have to make it different. So, and I think I might have mentioned that yesterday with the music theory, but yeah, because all these classes are only 4 weeks, you know, they have to make it different to make it work. So they do, and I think they do a really good job of it. But back to lab, essentially, like tonight, we had to do velocity and acceleration. We did some stuff on that. We did a small packet. And we had to go into this website, and it was like, there were charts, and it had this little guy across the screen. It was called The Walking Man or something like that. You can Google it if you want. Or I might even put a link down in the description if I can find where it was again. But I'll let you see what we were dealing with. And we just had to answer some questions, fill in some charts. It was no problem. They gave us some formulas to do, which really, if you paid attention in college math, this stuff is no problem. The only difference being is that for this class, there we go. For this class, you have to put labels on everything. So every answer has to, like for tonight's packet, it either has to be answered in meters per second, or meters per second squared. And I mean, that's just, it's no big deal. And a lot of it, like I was told, is, yeah, it's common sense. So I'm not too worried about physics. I'm going to make sure I pay attention. They haven't put the slides up on Propeller yet for the PowerPoint stuff. So I'll be excited when they put that up, because today I was kind of half taking notes during lecture, like kind of, but not really. Because the slides that they have up currently aren't the exact slides that they were using, because some of the instructors got changed around. So I don't know about any of that. But as far as the fundamentals of physics, today was pretty good. I'm just now brought up the slides. And so, let's see, let's take a look at some of these slides. I mean, some of them were the same, some of them weren't. Like we talked about direct proportionality, like how as velocity increases, distance increases, and then decreases, same thing. And then there's the inverse proportionality, where as velocity increases, time decreases, and then vice versa. So we talked about those. The exponentially proportional stuff, scientific units, the metric stuff. I mean, I really don't know why America sticks with whatever the heck it is that we use. Or we talked about scalars and vectors. Scalars are a quantity that is completely specified by its magnitude and has no specific direction. So basically, a scalar is something that has no direction, and a vector does have direction, and they both have magnitude or whatever, mass and stuff. We talked about the speed and velocity, how velocity equals distance divided by time. Speed is a scalar, velocity is a vector. That gives you another, I guess, example idea. Let's see what else. Some of these slides that I have we didn't actually do. We did talked about solving for velocity, obviously, and then acceleration, and how like acceleration is like the final velocity minus the initial velocity divided by time. And some of these, they seem really complicated at first. Like you see all these symbols and you're just like, what's going on? But really, the thing that makes it look confusing that I noticed is the labels. Like you'll have your m divided by s, which is your meters per second, and then you'll have the meters per second squared and all that stuff. So once you start filling in the equations, that's what makes it look all crazy and stuff, is all the labels. Because if you took all the labels away, it would look plain and easy, no problem. So that's one of the things that I picked up on today. We also talked about the acceleration of gravity in lecture as well. We talked about how free falls work and the difference between, like, there cannot be a free fall with terminal velocity or something. Like if the question, what's the terminal velocity during a free fall? It's not possible, because a free fall requires there to be no air resistance, and terminal velocity does. So that can't happen. And then there's like distance in a free fall, how distance equals 1/2 gravity times time squared and all this crazy stuff. We talked about inertia, and how mass is a measure of inertia. Calculating weight, equilibrium rule, the vector sum of forces acting on a non-accelerating object or system of objects equals 0. And yeah, at first, and we talked about like support force and then dynamic equilibrium. A bunch of cool concepts, a lot of stuff that at first I was just like, whoa, but it's really not that bad. So a lot of it is common sense. A lot of it is just filling in the equation, you know what I mean? Looking at what you have and saying, all right, well, what can I do to organize this to figure out how I can get the answer? You know, like, the best way I think to do it is find what you don't know and then like separate what you don't know from what you do know, and then you can go from there and solving the problems. But yeah, today was a pretty good day. I've got to say. I mean, aside from the having to run all the way back home and all the way back, like I rode, let's see, I've made the trip from home to school and back. I did it once, twice, 3 times today so far, and I'm about to make it number 4 as soon as I get done here. But yeah, it's been pretty good today. In lab, they said that we have 4 lab techs, which is pretty interesting, and we also have lab in the same classroom that we have lecture, and I think I might have mentioned that. And basically, yeah, what it is we're crowding around the power outlets to try and keep the computers going. Excuse me, but at least we're not in there for the full 4 hours, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's what they told us at the beginning of lab, is that usually, like, don't plan on it, but usually they plan it to where we can get out of there before 1 o'clock in the morning. It's currently 10:40, and I've been here for a little over 10 minutes now, so we got out around, 10:25, and really it's whenever you're done. So they give you the packet of work. You can team up with 2 other people, so there can only be 3 people in a group in lab, and basically, you know, they take attendance like normal, and then to take the second attendance, that's what you turn in your packet. So you turning in your packet is them taking your second attendance. So that's how that works. And then also, so basically as soon as you get done with your packet of work, you're free to go. You know what I mean? And no matter what time that is, you're free to go. But they do advise that you do the practice tests. So basically the way they have it planned out is, so if you finish your work early and people are filtering out, you know, if you want to stay behind to get some one-on-one tutor time, that's what that time is for, because people are leaving, there's not as many of us in there. There's 4 lab techs, they're more free to work with you. And so the lab techs are there until 1 o'clock. So I could go back right now and they would still be in there, and I could get help if I wanted. So it's like you can stay until 1 o'clock. It's not like they're trying to kick you out. It's that you're free to go, but they really suggest that you stay behind and get some extra help, which on Thursday I probably will be doing so. So that's what's going on with physics. It's pretty cool. On Thursday, before class, there's this rock and roll historian guy, works for the Hard Rock Cafe, and basically it's like the mobile Hard Rock collection tour. They've got a bunch of like clothes and memorabilia and instruments from all famous rock stars and everything. And this guy's doing a seminar at like 11 in the morning. I'm going to try to make it to that. And then I'm going to try to check out the actual tour bus that they have. So it should be pretty cool. I'll get the HD camera. I'll try to do that if I decide to. I haven't quite yet. But why not? You know what I mean? It's a GPS event. It's looking at cool stuff. You know. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video now. I'm going to get headed home. I'm hungry. I'm ready to chillax. It's still a bit warm out. It's not as hot as it was earlier. But yeah, I'm going to try to do the videos in different places from now on, see what I can do about that. So thanks for watching. Questions, comments, anything like that, let me know. And for all the aspiring Full Sail students, don't hesitate. I mean, yeah, definitely check out other places. This place might not be for you, but if it is, jump on it, because there's no reason, you know, that you should delay yourself anymore, because this place is awesome. It's pretty cool. So I'll see you tomorrow with the next music theory video. This month is going to have a ton of videos. There's going to be one like almost every day. basically. I mean, there's going to be at least 4 a week, which is way more than last month. I think there was only like 9 videos or something, 9 or 10 videos last month, which is ridiculous. But this month is going to be ridiculous in the other direction. So, I will see you tomorrow. And until then, I don't know. Have a great day or night or morning or evening whenever you're watching. So, yep, I'll see you tomorrow.